speaking of the pass catchers, the one guy who maybe this isn't his skill set, doesn't mean he's a bad player, but not his skill set, is Kyle Williams. And maybe that's been part of the problem, or not problem, but like question with Kyle Williams. He's not out there a lot, right? And Mike Reese said on Zolak and Bertrand last week, like, he's going to be fine in terms of his roster spot. And there were still some people, is he the odd man out? And as the wide receiver position changed this week, a couple things happened. One, Kayshon Boutte's repping a lot less, which doesn't, and it's not because he was playing poorly. So, okay, what's his future? And then the other thing is Mike Vrabel today, I have the quote here, I can pull it up, but said in his answer, and he said quite a bit, he basically got asked, and I'm paraphrasing here a little bit, but hey, why isn't Kyle Williams getting a ton of reps, right? Like, are you guys done with him? And in Vrabel's answer, and I wrote about this on 98.5thesportshub.com, he said, it works a lot more effectively if you don't point it out.
Evan made it so we have to call it.
I know we
What,
did.
we give him crap for the plug.
For doing my job. Vrabel said, and this is just part of the answer, I know that he is going to be a large part of what we're going to do, and those opportunities will continue to come. On and on and on. Those opportunities by nature will increase. And he kind of talked about how it's on the coaching staff to find things for him to do. He basically said he's going to make the team, and just to translate, at least what I heard, he's going to be a game plan player. And there's going to be some games where he doesn't do as much. There's going to be some games where maybe he's very involved because they want to hunt a certain matchup and things like that. So I feel like everybody with Kyle Williams at this point, it's either they used a third-round pick on him, he has to be a star, or get him off the team. Right? He's a bust. We're done with him. Somewhere in the middle. He's going to be here. He's not going to be the guy. He's probably not even going to be the second guy. But they have a role in 9 for him. He has a skill set that isn't really mirrored elsewhere on the roster. And I think the idea is just they're going to take advantage of that. Now, why that means he's getting fewer reps, Taylor, I know you have a theory on that. Some of it might just be they're doing the base install, and his role is probably going to change more week to week, and they don't really plug that stuff in this time of year during camp. It goes to the point about the changing of the phases, and maybe that comes up more down the road. But, Taylor, I know you were fired up about this before we got on, so we'll start with you. Like, just interesting. You really don't see coaches be that in-depth and specific about a single player, and Mike Vrabel did that today for Kyle Williams, and I think, you got to feel better now about not just the chances to make the team, but to contribute in some way.
Yeah, and I just think it comes down to Kyle being in a very unique situation where the Patriots have one of, if not the deepest wide receiver room in the NFL with a ton of veterans behind him. It's not like Kyle's competing with a bunch of guys that are his own age. So talking about A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs are going to play. Demario Douglas has a very defined role on this team. In 11 personnel, he's going to be on the field. We've already seen Mac Hollins essentially fall down to being a backup where he is Tommy DeVito's top target. And now you got Kayshon Boutte is even seeing fewer snaps, as you mentioned. So there are veterans who have proven that they have chemistry with Drake May, who are also fighting for opportunities to play with Drake May. Kyle Williams has a role that you can use more actively on game days, when I think comparing him to Efton Chisholm and acknowledging their differences is fair. Where you can put Kyle on the field and have him do something that nobody else can do. Yep. But Efton, because he didn't have that skill set last year, spent a lot of time learning all the positions. So he could line up at X, he could line up at F, he could line up at Z, because that was how he was going to earn a roster spot. Kyle didn't have that roster insecurity because you could line him up on the outside in those one-on-one matchups like we saw against the Giants, like we saw against the Bucks. And if it's one-on-one and you don't get your hands on him and he's past you, you're not catching up to him. So I think, obviously that's a role you want on the team, because other than maybe Pop, there are no home run threats in the wide receiver core.
And he's a different kind of home run threat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not perfect, and I think part of it is, he just naturally isn't able to get as many reps with Drake May, because what are you going to say? Hey, Dobbs, I know we're paying you a lot of money. Why don't you sit out this series for Kyle Williams? It's just not realistic, honestly. So I think part of it is that when we talk about this base install in training camp, this is the foundation of what they're doing. I think the shot plays to Kyle Williams, yes, those can be game planned, those can be worked on, but A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs, and Pop Douglas are going to be on the field all the time. It is the priority for Drake to chemistry with those guys, and it may be unfair to Kyle Williams right now, but you know what? They got 3 guys right now that probably might not be on the team next year, and that's when Kyle will have the opportunity to step up. So I just think if we hadn't heard anything about Kyle Williams and the coaches have spoken about him differently, and he hadn't been an offseason award winner, maybe I'd feel kind of differently and say, I'm worried as he's starting to go the trajectory that we often see from young Patriots wide receivers. I just don't think that's what's happening. He's just in a very odd situation where there's a really stiff competition, and even again, guys who have been in the league for a long time and proven they can contribute in this offense consistently are also fighting to get on the field.
Brian.
Mic drop. He nailed it right there.
The only thing
That's the thing. Sorry, just like
No.
I think a lot of people see he's not repping with Drake May, and they think it's because Kyle Williams is doing something wrong. He's not. Like, again, offseason award winner. The coaching staff really likes him, and just that skill set that Taylor just really laid out. Like, they need that in this wide receiver room. It complements what they have elsewhere so nicely. So yeah, I think he's going to be here, and his role will continue to evolve and expand.
And you mentioned wide receivers from the past year. I think fans have a sour taste in their mouth from all the wide receivers that have drafted and busted here. Jalen Polk just retired this week. Again, I know we talked about him earlier in the show, or on our show earlier this week, but I think it is more so. It's more so who's in front of him, right? The guys that are out there. And you mentioned Pop Douglas. You mentioned Keyshawn Moody. Guys like that who are in the final year of their deal. It's more of a long-term play for a guy like Kyle Williams. Maybe he's not a star here this year, but they're not going to just cut bait with him. He was a third-round pick. It's not like the Jalen Polk situation where he was injured. He wasn't producing. He was maybe doing some things wrong. He wasn't available all the time. Kyle Williams hasn't been that. So I think we just need to give it a little bit more of a chance and understand that a third-round pick isn't a first-round pick. Alex, you said he's not necessarily going to be the guy in this offense this year, maybe not even next year, but he'll still be involved. He'll still contribute. And he's got a skill set that, like you said, nobody else on this team really has, so they're going to have to use him in certain situations.
Yeah, Jalen Polk was struggling to produce with the twos. Kyle Williams is still really good when he's out there with the twos.
Yeah.
He's just not running with the ones, although he did have a catch from Drake May today in 1 minute. Again, and I'll just say it again. I think he's probably somebody that is going to have a different role every week, and his role is going to be very dependent on who the opponent is, and that could be a big role, it could be a smaller role, what have you. It's really tough to get that guy involved when you're not game planning for a specific team. So again, they're not going to game plan for the Colts like they will for the Seahawks week 1, but they will do a little bit of it. And I'll be interested to see, especially when we get back out here Monday, like that's kind of going to be like a game prep sort of practice to get ready for the joint practice on Tuesday. Do we see him a little more as they kind of get into some more of that, not scheme specific, but like opponent scheme specific kind of stuff. So I'll be interested to see that.
It's a scorching hot sports summer, and you can make all of your picks on the Prize Picks app. Women's basketball, baseball, heating up. Football preseason games just around the corner as well. We had one last night. And we got Big Ten Slams, major golf tournaments as well, and there's no better place for all of your sports picks than on Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. As we said, preseason is here, and there is no better place to run your game than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. We got stars on new teams, a rookie class ready to roll, and all while teams are getting started on the biggest football season yet. So make a lineup with player stats, pick game winners, spreads, or totals, and combine your picks in the same lineup. And you can do so in all 50 states right now on the Prize Picks app. And all you got to do is download it today and use code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Again, just download the app today and use code CLNS. You get $150 in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app.
Taylor, you got to scratch an itch, so I'm going to scratch an itch on a story today. We should mention the offensive line, which I think is still having a overall solid summer. You know, again, the guard depth has been a little bit of an issue, but that's guard depth. It's a long way from, hey, who's going to start week 1 even when we're 3 weeks into camp and we don't know?
Greg Van Roten is not signed, by the way.
No.
It was just a visit yesterday. That's it.
So Caleb Lomu got left tackle snaps in front of Drake May today. And I saw a lot of people running with that in a certain direction. There's a ton of context that comes with that. Yeah. That just needs to be laid out. Will Campbell was not at practice.
Oh.
So he did not rep
Sorry, that wasn't against you. That was from...
Will Campbell wasn't here. Still dealing with that arm thing.
That makes sense.
So,
He'll be back. He'll be back next week.
That's what Vrabel said, right. The backup has been Marcus Bryant. And I thought that was notable yesterday, that when Campbell was out, it was not Lomu at left tackle. It was Marcus Bryant. They could have moved Lomu to left tackle with the second unit, but it was Demetrius Cranover, which, by the way, finally, he got some more reps. He's had a good summer. We hadn't seen his reps increase, and it kind of happened by default, but he did it, and good for him. Like, he's getting a chance to show more. I thought he was okay today. You know, maybe didn't get show as well as he wanted to with those extra reps, but he's getting them. So Crownover and Bryant were on the other team. So maybe the coaches did this and were like, let's give Caleb a shot at left tackle, and that was maybe the idea behind it. But this was not, hey, they're giving Caleb Lomu like the first team left tackle look. That's not what it was. And I don't think he was great out there. Like, it was kind of a continuation of a summer where he was fine, but he's still getting, and you can kind of see the natural ability, but he's still getting beat more than somebody you would trust putting out there for a full game. He's still a developmental player. So let's not run wild with it. And again, I think it's more telling that Marcus Bryant got those reps yesterday. And I guess this is where I'll open it up to you guys, unless you disagree with my assessment and you think it's time we're going to have a full-on position battle. Like, where are you at with Caleb Lomu, and is Marcus like, we thought at the very least, okay, well, he won't start, but he'll be the top backup tackle, he'll be the swing guy. Is that Marcus Bryant right now, and what does Lomu need to do to maybe get into that role before the season starts? Brian, we'll start with you.
Well, Mike Vrabel had a lot of praise for Marcus Bryant this
Yes,
morning,
he
too.
did.
Talked
That's a good
about how
point.
he's gotten stronger. Mentioned his pass pro, too, I believe, was it?
Run game specifically.
Run
Run
game
game, yeah. 'cause
specifically.
mentioned putting on
With-
the strength, because he has a weird frame.
Yeah.
And
Very
Vrabel
lanky.
was very specific about how he's long levered and all
Yeah.
that.
He's
So-
like, he needed to get stronger, he got stronger.
They seem to like where Marcus Bryant has gotten
Yeah,
to at
oh,
this
yeah.
point. And this is a guy who started a lot in the SEC, and he's got the size and the strength. So there's something there that they like. And if Caleb Lomu is kind of riding this rookie roller coaster, I don't think, it's still high on him long term as a prospect, but maybe right out of the gate, you're not comfortable with him being your potential backup left tackle if Will Campbell goes down. So yeah, I think Marcus Bryant is on this team as, if you're keeping 4 tackles, and might be week 1 the backup there to Will Campbell.
Yeah, yesterday I was hoping, and it seemed like it was confirmed now, that Marcus Bryant has just gotten better. And as someone I love the experience he had coming out of Missouri, where you could see on the tape, even when his technique wasn't perfect, he found ways to still keep himself in front of whoever was rushing and to protect the quarterback. But last year, it was pretty obvious that he still had some growing to do and some learning to do. And think about it, like, even if Marcus Bryant isn't the better player, he faced stiffer competition the entire time that he was in college. Whereas Caleb Lomu coming from Utah, it's a very steep learning curve. And yes, he was a first-round pick, but it was the back of the first round. He's a player with a lot of physical talent, but it was acknowledged that there is still development that's to be made. And if he hits a ceiling, then you have a very quality player because of the skill set. So I don't really mind. I think it makes the most sense for him to continue, in these regular team periods to rep behind Morgan Moses because that's his long-term role. Today, I also understood it made sense at left tackle because maybe he didn't love the depth there. James Hudson playing some guard, what have you. There's some moving pieces there, but I'm not discouraged by Caleb Lomu. Again, he's still a project. It's still relatively early. He looks like a rookie where he's probably winning like 40% of the time, which isn't terrible. I'm good with it. If Marcus Bryant has taken that step and is your swing tackle, and they seem to like James Hudson as well. Yeah. Demetrius Crownover is very talented, but also probably more of a project. I'm okay with it at this juncture.
Yeah, I think it says more about Marcus Bryant's development than it does about Campbell being a roller coaster rookie year player, which is exactly what he is, and I think that's okay. I mean, you're still trying to understand.
Lomu.
What did I say?
Campbell.
Oh boy, that's going to get clipped.
Oh no, yes, thank you.
It was a little bit of a roller coaster for Will Campbell's rookie year. That's fair.
It was, but no, I think it's we're okay with Caleb Lomu. It'll work itself out. He'll be fine. It was interesting to see him at left side instead of the right side because, as you said, that's sort of going to be his long-term, you would think, outlook is on the right side. But I'm just glad he wasn't hurt today. It looked like he went down with a...
I saw it. His shoe, like the bottom of the shoe separated from...
And so he was trying to catch himself. It looked like a bad...
It looked like an
lower
Achilles
injury.
thing, but it was the Achilles of the shoe. It was interesting that Vrabel... I mean, that's essentially what that is, the back of the shoe. It was interesting that earlier this week, Vrabel was asked about the guard depth and say, we might play Caleb at guard. And then they still haven't done it since. But they're still looking for somebody, like you mentioned. Greg Van Roten's unsigned. So just real quick, just give me an answer. Caleb Lomu's first regular season NFL snap comes at what position? Tackle or guard?
Jumbo tight end?
Tight end, yeah. Tight end.
First offensive line snap.
Tackle.
I still think that Ben Brown would be a guard before he would.
Yeah.
I still think there's a chance it's guard. I think they might need multiple
Over
backup
Ben Brown?
interior guys. No, I think they might need multiple backup.
Everyone's
interior
going
guys at some
down.
point.
Ben Brown injury.
Well, and Ben Brown has clearly been better at center this camp than guard.
Yeah, it seems like they want him at center.
If you need like a few snaps, I trust Ben Brown. If you need a guard for 2 or 3 games, we haven't seen Lomu at guard, so I can't say there's an argument for him, but like there might be. If we see him and he looks okay, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility he looks better at guard than Ben Brown has.
I think if he's struggling in his natural position and you put him inside,
that's fair.
I said it in the spring. He's a big dude.
No, that's fair.
I really struggle with the idea of him being comfortable at guard. Whereas Caden Wallace's perspective when he switched really opened my eyes. Where he was getting walked back a lot, and I asked what exactly is going on. He said, "Look, when you're a tackle, you have a runway, so it takes time for guys to get to you. When you're a guard, they're in your chest as soon as they're out of their stance. It's not the same thing. So for a young player who's already trying to learn to play his spot at the professional level, I think that would be an insane trial by fire. And I think it's also the reason that we've seen James Hudson there so much. Because if they're desperate, at least get a veteran who it's not going to be as steep of a learning curve.
Make sure to subscribe to our new channel, Patriots Newsfeed on CLNS, giving you clips, behind-the-scenes footage, and much more. And as always, keep it here, our Patriots on CLNS, for our full podcast videos.